Cadet Generale, this is my operations order for paragraph 1. Here is the platoon task organization. Our platoon's task is to disrupt enemy forces in AO Ronan with the purpose to deny enemy influence on the enemy battalion. My squad, first squad, attack to destroy objective Phantom, deny enemy influence on the enemy battalion. Second squad, ambush to destroy enemy on OBJ Reaper, disrupt enemy operations on Route Camaro. Third squad, suppress enemy on objective Ghost, deceive enemy of USF, and weapon squad will be dispersed into first squad and second squad, and they have the key weapon systems of the M240 and the Javelin, and the key weapon systems for the three first squads is the M249 and the M320. Here's the task organization for our squad, with the task to attack to destroy objective Phantom and to deny enemy influence on the enemy battalion. So our first team is going to be tasked to support by fire and prepare to assault through objective Phantom. The purpose is to destroy objective Phantom. My second team is to assault by fire on objective Phantom to deny enemy influence on the battalion. And here is our attached weapons team, and their task is to support by fire objective Phantom to destroy objective Phantom, bringing along the M240 and the Javelin. And here's our platoon overlay, which demonstrates these mountain ranges, which we will be going along, starting from our patrol base, which is here, and we'll be going down through Phase Line Alaska, Phase Line Arctic, to reach objective Phantom. And you can see that we are going to be remaining in AO Ronan, and on the west we have our cutoff, which is the river here, and obviously on the east we have this rough terrain over here. We should not go anywhere near the mountain range for our approach. And so here is our area of interest and area of operation. Our area of operation within this box would be north 37 northing, south 31 northing, east 17 easting, west 10 easting. And as I mentioned before, the river and the mountain ranges will be our boundaries. Our area of interest will be north 45 northing, south 22 northing, east 20 easting, and west 4 easting. So the enemies have a one platoon Z-10K attack helicopter, which will be in the Tatooine Air Base. And what triggers them to come would be the ID of key USF battalion or higher enablers. And the time to get there would be about 30 minutes. For indirect fires, they'll have a battery of PL-66 152mm howitzers in the vicinity of Tatooine, ranging entirety of AO Ronan. But trigger this is the ID of USF infantry elements greater than squad size. And this will be about 10 minutes. And then with the least time that we need to be concerned about is the PP-87, which also is continuous with the entire AO, so we have to be ready for that. Between the hours of 0300, 0800, and 1500 and 1900, there'll be continuous use. They have reinforcements ready, which is a motorized platoon, which would trigger them as the USF advances along MSRs in the coastal region. This will be about 40-minute response time. And others will be a platoon of PGZ-04A and a platoon of HQ-16Ss. So here's our terrain. So some of our obstacles will obviously be that mountain range and the river, because that is really restricted terrain. And then reinforcing, there is wire obstacles along Route Camaro, which you have to be aware of. Effects on friendly, which is similar to effects on enemy. However, the enemy has a slight advantage here because this is their home court advantage, and they might have setups and avenues alongside those mountain ranges that we'll be approaching from. All right, so for the avenue approach, as mentioned before, Route Camaro runs along the AO, and that offers a high-speed vehicle movement within the AO Ronan. However, enemy forces will could also utilize this, which could give them the advantage, so we kind of want to stay off that. And then some marked advantages would be key terrain bridge, which taking control of that would give us or the enemy a marked advantage. And that also goes along with the intersection at that coordinate, which is pretty much on top of Objective Phantom. So for observation and fields of fire, there's rough terrain around the entire AO, including the mountain range, and then marshes and stuff like that. So that could restrict movement and also leave the enemy harder to see, but it could also give us an advantage, which we have to use, which is for the enemy, it make us harder to see by the enemy. And then from both direct and indirect fires, ground and air, there is some concealment due to terrain and vegetation, like I mentioned, and we have to use that in our advantage. Next. All right, so here's our GTAO. As you can see, the mountain range is closed off, and here's our avenue approach, number 1, which will lead us through phase line Alaska, which we have to be careful when we're going around here. Probably go from traveling Overwatch to bounding Overwatch, and then right around here is probably when we go to straight bounding Overwatch, because we're going to be approaching that vicinity of where the mortars are going to be, and we're suspected to have contact right around here, which is why our avenue approach number 2 is not our best avenue approach. So the weather, what's really just going to be affecting us is the high chance of precipitation, the very high cloud cover, and the temperature and humidity is going to be very high. What this means for us is that it's going to be hot and humid, so bring your water, and then cloud cover is going to be very high, which means that if we need to catch evac or something like that, it's going to be hard for any air support to get to us. Here's the enemy composition of their company. They're going to be about 90%. Enemy forces within AO Ronin consist of 1 motorized infantry platoon, 3 motorized infantry squads, 1 recon squad, and 1 82mm mortar team. Enemy motorized infantry squads each possess standard North Torban infantry squad equipment and weapons, and 1 CSK-141, which is the equivalent to a Humvee. Enemy reconnaissance squad is dismounted and equipped with QBZ-95, QJY-88, and QBU-88s. Enemy mortar team equipped with PP-87 82mm mortar. The most common weapon system is the QBZ-95, which is comparable to our M4. The most dangerous weapon system is the PP-87, which is comparable to an M252. And here's the enemy situation analysis from our company. So that PP-87 ranges throughout almost the entire of AO Ronin. And then also we have to be on the ready for the security team around here, as well as this mortar team, which could be a threat to us. And then here is my enemy sit tent, which is what we're going to suspect. Most dangerous case is that this would be how they would be aligned up for us, covering up, protecting that mortar. So that could be a threat to us, and then obviously the security team could be a threat if we come into contact here and they let this mortar team know and they all open up fire on us, which would be a problem. Enemy capabilities. So enemy units not aware of the composition, deposition, and strength of USF forces. We need to use that to our advantage with the element of surprise. Movement and maneuver. The enemy controls the main routes, like I mentioned with Route Camaro. So we need to kind of stay off those because they're going to be well versed in navigating around this terrain. Fires, they have a battery of 152mm howitzers that are in range of AO Ronin. So like I mentioned before, we have to stay off the radar with that. Protection, enemy has limited sea wire in the area, so there's really not much defensive stopping us besides the harsh terrain. Sustainment, enemy has control of key intersections and routes. Like I mentioned with the intelligence, they're going to know how to, they're going to be able to rapidly deploy and sustain their enemy troops as soon as we make contact. And then command and control, enemy forces are dispersed in restricted terrain. This is a weakness. Enemy will have delayed communication, control, and reaction times, which is good for us. And then mission and concept of the operation. The purpose of this operation is to disrupt enemy forces at AO Ronin in order to deny enemy influence on battalion meet. We will accomplish this mission by conducting envelopment. Decisive to this operation is a team enveloping while the B team and Gun 1 give support by fire, destroying enemy forces and positions on Objective Phantom. This is decisive because it removes enemy strength and reduces IDF capabilities within AO Ronin. The risk assumed is performing an envelopment maneuver upon enemy positions well within IDF range. Risk mitigated by support by fire teams. And then our end state is Objective Phantom secured. Enemy forces within Objective Phantom are destroyed. We minimize civilian casualties and damage infrastructure, and casualties are minimized. And then here's our friendly mission and intent. Our company commander's intent is Charger Company disrupts enemy forces in AO Ronin no later than August 30th, 2024. The expanded purpose is deny enemy influence on the battalion. Key task, disrupt enemy operations in depth, deny enemy uncontested use of high-speed avenues of approach, retain maximal combat power, avoid decisive engagements, and reconsolidate 2nd Platoon and 3rd Platoon. Our end state, terrain, primary MSRs and AO Ronin are contested, minimize civilian casualties, North Torbian forces in zone disrupted without accurate knowledge of Charger element composition and disposition to protect our friendlies, and friendly dispersed elements reconsolidate, posture for follow-on offensive operations.